students, welcome back. We'll continue with restriction enzymes. This is the third part of explanation. We did 2 videos earlier where we discussed, just a recap, why they are called molecular scissors. We discussed about how it cuts phosphodiester bond of a DNA, and from where do we get restriction enzymes? They are found only in bacteria. So from the very first restriction enzyme to so many found now, they are all obtained from bacteria. They have it naturally in their system as a defense mechanism. We discussed this. We discussed about what are the sequence that called which it recognizes. So normally it is a palindromic sequence that restriction enzyme tries to find on a DNA, and it has a specific area, maybe a 6 nucleotide, 4 to 8 nucleotide long segment called recognition sequence, and they are generally palindromic, means they are read same in both the strands when read in the same direction, 5 to 3 or 3 to 5, but both the strands should be read in the same direction. So a palindromic sequence is when the 2 strands of the DNA read the same basis when read in one orientation. Then we discussed about what is recognition sequence, what is recognition site. We talked about specific sites where it cuts. It does not cut randomly anywhere. It should get the specific site. If it is between guanine and adenine, it will cut, that particular enzyme will cut only between guanine and adenine. Then we discussed about naming of restriction enzyme nomenclature, how the names EcoR1, HIND2, HIND3, all this we discussed, how they are named. Coming to what are the patterns of cleaving. See, when a particular restriction enzyme cuts a double-stranded DNA, it gives 2 types of fragments. Either blunt ends are formed, fragment having blunt ends. Blunt means both the sides are equally cut. Okay, both the sides are equally cut, or it gives cohesive ends. Cohesive ends are formed. That means when a double-stranded DNA is cut, it gives such uneven fragments. In one fragment, one strand is shorter than the other strand. There is an overhang. And the other strand has also a short arm and an overhanging arm. So that is called cohesive because they are very easily used for sticking of foreign DNA. Whereas the blunt ends formed, some restriction enzymes cut both strands at opposite phosphodiester bond, exactly opposite. For example, see the case of enzyme He3 is derived from the bacteria Haemophilus aegypticus and third in the order of discovery. So its recognition sequence, this enzyme recognizes only this sequence, GGCC, GGCC. So this is the recognition sequence. And what is the restriction site for it? It is the phosphodiester bond between guanine and cytosine. And so see, in this double strand, it cuts opposite strands in the same area. So you get one fragment, this very evenly cut, and the other fragment this. So such restriction enzymes cut the strands at opposite phosphodiester bond, opposite, not here and there like the sticky end. So they cut opposite, so they give 2 even fragments. So that results in blunt ends. But blunt ends, though it looks very clean, it is not used much in rDNA technology, recombinant DNA technology, because though ligase can join them with the insert, but very less efficient they are. Yeah. So blunt ends are not much used because they cannot be joined very efficiently. Coming to cohesive ends, how cohesive fragments are formed. Take an example of enzyme EcoR1, which cleaves this particular palindrome GAA-TTC, GAA-TTC. So it recognizes this palindrome. This is its recognition sequence, and the site, as we discussed earlier, it is between guanine and adenine. So when EcoR1 moves on this double strand, it finds exactly the bond between guanine and adenine and cuts it. On the other strand also, it cuts between guanine and adenine only. So what kind of, will it give an even fragments? Will it give 2 even fragments? No. These are uneven cuts. So you get 2 fragments which are not even like the blunt end. It's not even like the blunt end. So see the ends now, I mean the two fragments. These are half, very short fragment one and very long overhangs. So such areas which are exposed, they are called sticky ends. In the other half fragment also, see there are G is on the other strand and AATTC has come together. So AATT doesn't have here complement, it is cut off. So this is the sticky end. This two can even ligate together, but during rDNA technology, we take care of preventing self-ligation by the use of alkaline phosphatase that we will discuss somewhere later. That self-ligation can be prevented so that only an insert, a desirable gene can be incorporated here. So what I mean to say is the cohesive ends formed, they result in overhangs or staggered ends. They don't give such flat or clean ends. And these are therefore mostly used in rDNA technology because they're very efficient. These sticky ends give specificity to ligation. Ligase enzymes are used to join the phosphodiester bond between the sticky ends. So we use sticky ends for recombinant technology. Here is an example as given in your NCERT book. How does a restriction enzyme work for forming rDNA? As I said, sticky ends are more efficient. Enzymes giving sticky ends are more efficient because they are very specific to ligation. Now here I am taking an example of a human genome, a segment of the human genome. A human genome is so long, hai na? So I just take one segment because here I am explaining how do you clone insulin gene. So I have taken a segment which shows a small area, the blackened area, that is the gene coding for insulin. Matlab instructions there are gene coding for insulin. So definitely I get a long segment. Now how do I get this particular insulin gene incorporated into a vector so that I can clone that gene, I can get the desirable product. So how do I do it? So this is a long fragment. I am using this as the isolated DNA from human to get the desirable gene. I am also using a vector, a plasmid vector, where this gene I will insert. So first let me explain how to get the insulin gene from the human genome. So suppose this is a long fragment. I am using EcoR1, restriction enzyme EcoR1. So you all know EcoR1's recognition sequence is GAATTC. So it will run over the fragment and it will identify that particular area, recognition sequence. It will come on that area, GAATTC. So human genome is so long, there may be more GAATTC. See, definitely there would be somewhere near more GAATTC. Here down G opposite this complement to this GAATTC. Backward 5 to 3 GAATTC. So this EcoR1 runs over the fragment and cleaves exactly at the restriction site, that is between guanine and adenine. It cleaves here between guanine and adenine. It cleaves here between guanine and adenine. It cleaves here between guanine and adenine. So what do you get? When this is broken, and it will also break, in sticky end the enzyme also breaks the hydrogen bond. In blunt ends it was not breaking the hydrogen bond, that is why equal fragments were. Here in cohesive fragments, the hydrogen bonds are also broken. So what do you get? See, you break here and you come here. So you get this much hydrogen bond broken and you get this intact. This piece you get intact, this long piece. And this area you see, it breaks here and till here. So this hanging area you get, overhang you get. Rest of the gene from here to here is intact. Both hydrogen bonds are there, complementary strand. So we get this insulin gene out from this human DNA. Clear? Now we have to insert this in a plasmid. So this is ready. By the time my plasmid also should be ready with the gap to insert this. So what do I do? This plasmid vector, see, this plasmid vector also has the same enzyme should be used. EcoR1 should be used. It also has GAATTC, that recognition site for EcoR1. So it will cleave between GA, and this part, the cleaved part. Now, what do we do? I have drawn the plasmid a little bigger here so as to get this insert fixed into that gap area, into the space formed. So now you see the ends of that AATT, this end is joined here, being complementary to the remaining bases. You know, this base was remaining, so it is complementary to that AATT, so that they pair up. And of course ligase enzyme is needed to join the phosphodiester bond between the plasmid's guanine and the insert insulin gene's adenine. Phosphodiester bond will be formed. That is called cleaving. That is called ligating. Ligation is happening because of enzyme ligase allowing formation of phosphodiester bond. Clear? Same way the other end, this other end will go and attach here, being complementary to the leftover part of AATTC. After removal, the leftover part, it will complement. So A pairs with T, A pairs with T, A pairs with T, like that. So this is fixed. Of course, I have drawn it bigger because space has to be increased. This whole gene has to be fixed in that space. So the plasmid is giving space to ligate the ends and to incorporate all the insulin gene in between. So I have not written all the bases, but all this black, pen used, these are all insulin gene. So the ends, the cohesive ends ligate and the insulin gene is incorporated into the plasmid. This is how an rDNA is formed. I hope the tool restriction enzyme, how it is used for recombinant technology, is very clear. Thank you. Keep watching more videos and keep learning. Thank you so much.